What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to be discussing how the quality of the people that you surround yourself with determines the quality of the person that you are going to be. Now, we've talked about this. I've talked about this in recent videos. We know that on an energetic level, from a spiritual perspective, we pick up on energy. We pick up on thought waves. We pick up on literally everything from our environment. So obviously, the fact of the matter being that when you walk into a room and somebody is depressed, you get those types of emotions. You start to feel a little flood of emotions entering your body. You start to resonate at the same wavelength because those vibrations of thought, they are real forces. They are real energies. Everything is made up of energy. This Ghost energy drink is made up of energy, no pun intended, as is this AirPods case. Right? There's all vibrating particles vibrating all the time, right? And so as human beings, us being made up of water energy, we talked about Masaru, I think Emoto, or I think that's his name, the guy that does the experiments on the water. And if you look this up, the water experiments, you'll see that by him putting the word hate, he writes the word hate on the water bottle or container that it's in, and it looks all distorted. The water's all turning brown and gray and looking disgusting. And he writes the word love. He puts out the intention of love on the other water. And the molecules, when they go and do these at a molecular level, and they have these microscopes and they're looking at the water crystals, I don't know the exact terminology, but they're so beautiful. They look like snowflakes. They look super ordered and amazing. They just look great, right? They look like designs. They look like, sacred geometry, the design, like the divine art from the heavens, whatever that would look like, right? And so what I want to bring out today is, on this channel, we talk about the holistic approach, right? And so there's this interview that I was listening to with Dr. Tara Stewart, and this is on the Diary of the CEO podcast. But she's talking about from a neuroscience perspective, from a science-based perspective, there is something called social contagion. And I'm going to play this clip for you guys, just so you guys can hear on a way that is being proved by science how these things are really at play and how these things are true, and they're having an impact on us at all times. The people that we're allowing to be around us are having a massive impact on.
Why is it important to not hang around with certain people?
And let me slow this down. It's got it on 2x speed here.
One of the things you said there was about limiting who's in your tribe. Why is that important? Why is it important to not hang around with certain people and spend more time with other people from like a neurological perspective in terms of our health and our outlooks and our outcomes and neuroplasticity?
So if we just link this back a little bit to the question that you Googled, which is stress contagious? Then there's another rabbit hole you could go down, which would be about social contagion. So there are statistics that show that in your social group, if someone gets divorced, you're more likely to get divorced in the next year. If someone in your social group is obese, you're more likely to become obese. Now, I'm absolutely not saying don't be friends with someone because they got divorced or they put on weight. But I'm talking more about the attitudinal stuff. So how you treat other people, how kind you are, how generous you are, how open you are to conversations about intuition or spirituality. Basically, you meet people who are at a similar psychological level to you. And so we're always working on ourselves, hopefully. And you want to be with people, if you are, then you want to be with people who are growing too, who are open to challenge, who are learning, who are interested in exploring spirituality, who care about their mental health and other people's mental health. So it's really about, you know, having this circle of trust and knowing that you've got support, but equally that if you do something that's really not okay, that somebody's going to tell you.
You mentioned the word
Exactly.
earlier, neuroplasticity. What is it? Why did it matter? And I think from looking at your work previously, you had a bit of an epiphany on this subject matter in your career, where you realised that, you know, you probably, like most people, don't even think it's a thing.
Okay. We'll stop it right there. So a couple points here that I want to touch on. All right. The last point that she made, working on ourselves, right? You want to be surrounded with people who are working on themselves, who are actively trying to improve themselves, to become the best version of themselves, which is what we do here on this channel, right? Now, people that care about their mental health, that care about, you know, exploring spirituality, exploring self-development, exploring how to embody the highest version that they can become, right? And that goes in all ways. And these other things that she mentioned too, people who treat other people with kindness, with generosity. You notice that when you get around miserly people, or people who are not generous in spirit and are, you know, people that are takers, you become what they call hyper vigilant, which in scientific terms is like you're always on the lookout to see who's out to get you, right? You're always almost expecting the worst. You're walking around with your narrative, which we talk about here all the time on the channel, now becomes the world is out to get me and I need to protect myself. So I'm constantly in this state of fight or flight. And that goes back down to another conversation. At the very beginning of this interview, they talk about how when you're in that fight or flight situation, when you are in people that have fixed mindsets, people that are operating from scarcity, people that are mediocre people or less than mediocre people, your body is creating the hormone cortisol, which is actually causing you to put on weight. You know, it's funny because at the very beginning of this whole entire interview, she touches on that and the social contagion aspect. So maybe I'll just play that clip real quick to give you guys that aspect.
So stress causes belly fat.
Belly fat that's really hard to shift. There's another rabbit hole you could go down about social contagion. So there are statistics that show that you meet people who are at a similar...
But stress is also caused by being around people that are low quality people, being around people that do not have good mental health, being around people who are volatile with their emotions, people who are dramatic, people that are toxic, people that want to create drama and chaos in your life. And what you'll find is that by being around these people, your body starts to become sick. You start to become physically ill. It might take a while. First, you feel that tenseness in your body, that tension. Your energy becomes blocked. You know, I don't know if you guys believe in chakras. I'm sure that the people that come at it from that perspective would tell you that your energy centers are being blocked, right? But this can manifest in literally your skin looking worse. Acne, you can start breaking out. It's visible. It can start to manifest itself visibly, and even in your state of physical health. I mean, I've read stories of people that are in these abusive relationships, right? And they literally go get hospitalized because they are in these toxic environments and emotionally abusive relationships. That's how powerful this stuff really is. And so I want to make it, I want to just, have this conversation right now, because I think that we take this stuff as, like to some degree or another, we're all like, yeah, I should be around better people, right? That we all kind of consciously know this, but when you really start to look into the science of it, you kind of see that this is actually this is actually such a foundational piece to not only your state of health, but your entire life trajectory. The entire outcome and personality that you develop is heavily influenced, and I would say actually, because we tend to assimilate the qualities of those that we spend time with into our own personality, is governed by the people that we choose to allow into our circle, the people that we choose to allow into our sphere of influence. And this is why so many people actually, I see these YouTube videos that are trends going around on YouTube that say, your coworkers aren't your friends, and beware of these types of people and things like this, because at some point or another, we've all ran into these types of people. We can all resonate with the fact that a lot of people, just because they happen to be in your environment, you went to school with some people, right? You went to high school with certain people, and you happen to develop relationships and friendships with these people because you happen to be in proximity with them. But most successful people that you notice, they almost never associate or are friends with their high school friends anymore. Most successful people, granted, don't really work 9-to-5 type jobs. But those that you could say are successful that work a job, most of them don't just go out for drinks with their coworkers after work. They don't become friends with their coworkers. And you'll notice on the show Yellowstone, Kevin Costner, the main kind of guy in Yellowstone, he never goes to play cards or whatever with the guys that work on the ranch with him. He keeps that separation between himself and his employees. And what you'll find is that when you start to allow people into your space, and of course, by going into a job, you're not going to necessarily, especially if you work in a minimum wage job, or even a job that pays better than minimum wage, but is even actually, that's not even true. I think even more of these prestigious jobs that you can get, even jobs in tech, even jobs where, on paper it looks good and you're like, so, quote unquote, white collar jobs, a lot of the time, the people that you interact with just by virtue, let's be real here. The Pareto's principle is operational no matter where you're at. And we know that the vast majority of people are
really fascinating experiment done on
people.
weightlifters. They lifted no weights for 2 weeks.
I'm going to play this
They just
clip
sat there
right
and
now.
they visualized themselves lifting weights. They had a 13% increase in muscle mass.
There's a
People
visualization
should realize
testament.
how much potential they have in their brains.
Dr. Tara Swart.
She's a neuroscientist, medical doctor, executive advisor, and best-selling author
She's here to teach us on how to build mental resilience.
to overcome our biggest challenges.
Is stress contagious?
So cortisol is the main stress hormone, and it will leak out of our sweat about this far around us, go into the skin of everybody else, and it's going to impact them. And as a survival mechanism, it will help you to store fat around your abdomen.
So stress causes belly fat?
Belly fat that's really hard to shift. There's another rabbit hole you could go down about
So we've heard those. So again, and she talks about in this podcast about people at the workplace. That's the environment, the example she gives. When you're around these people, they're kind of toxic emotional set point, their stress level, it's all being absorbed, it's all pouring out of their sweat. And how funny is this? How, I always talk about how the spiritual and the physical are basically two sides of the same coin. They're basically different models of looking at reality, but they're both saying the same thing. And that's why it's so awesome to be able to study both, to be able to learn about both, and then to be able to, see that Venn diagram in your mind where you're like, yeah, this actually makes complete sense. From a scientific perspective, it's happening. From a spiritual perspective, it's happening. And empowering yourself with this type of knowledge is really, really powerful, because now the logical mind is on board. Now the logical mind is saying, okay, well, yeah, there's scientifically based evidence. She brought up the visualization right there. The weightlifters, just by visualizing, experienced a 13% increase in muscle mass. I mean, that is what the placebo is. That is what the placebo effect is in the medical profession. But what we're talking about, by absorbing people's, literally their energy, but also like the toxins coming in off of their sweat, the stress hormones, the stress in the air, their mindset, that statistic that you are about to get divorced, you are statistically way more likely. You've probably seen this in your life. There's a commenter that commented down here about, yeah, I noticed that as soon as one person in the group got divorced, like everybody else starts going through breakups as well. And so, you can see this play out just even conversational wise, right? Because one person's going through a divorce, they're talking shit about their partner, right? And they're bashing their partner. And now what have they done? Especially if they have any sort of authority in the environment, because we're social creatures, we tend to look at those people in the environments. Let's say it's the manager, right, at your workplace that is going into this, bashing her partner. Now she's essentially looking to get validation from you. And now maybe she's egging you on to go ahead and bash your partner. You might have otherwise been in a pretty healthy relationship, but now she's encouraging you to go and talk shit about your partner behind their back, to gossip behind their back, to engage in this kind of victim-like thinking, which isn't, this is really the beginning of the end of that relationship. If you succumb to this type of social peer pressure in this type of situation, as weak people tend to do, because you don't have any boundaries, because you're a weak person, then you're going to wreak havoc on your relationship. Now you're thinking, oh, well, this person said it's okay for me to do this. It's not normal. What happens is when we surround ourselves with higher quality people that are in happy relationships, they show us how to embody what that means to be in a happy relationship, just by virtue of being around them. Just by virtue of being in their presence, they're the type of people that are going to hold you accountable, like mentioned previously in this video. And if you start bringing problems of your relationship to this type of person, they're going to say, okay, so what are you going to do about it? They might listen with a sympathetic ear for a few minutes, but eventually, and what the approach that you want to have, the growth-minded approach, because these people have toxic, fixed mindsets, or not even fixed. They're giving into chaos. They have a chaotic mindset. The opposite of growth is destruction, a destructive mindset, right? The true friend, or the person that is cultivating order, harmony, and love in their life, and positive, mutually beneficial relationships, they're going to say, okay, well, you're having this issue. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it to resolve it? Have you talked to him? Have you talked to her about this? Have you talked to him about this? Have you guys considered going to therapy? Have you guys considered this? Oh, well, this is something that me and my husband did when we had this type of issue come up, and it actually really helped. Oh, this is something that me and my partner did. This is something that me and my girlfriend did, right? They're gonna help you to solve the problem. They're not just going to sit in there and entertain victim mode, because when you entertain a victim mentality, you are disempowering yourself. And we've gone over this in previous videos. But the more that you sit there, blame shift, point the blame at everybody else, and you guys want to sit there in your toxic little environment and point the finger at people and justify bad behavior, you're going to get the results of that bad behavior. You're going to live you're going to devolve your life. You're going to dissolve the good that you had in your life. When you hang out around these people, you're going to alchemize to their state. And if they're living in toxic relationships, if they don't have healthy relationships, and then you're listening to them for advice, you see this all the time with lots of single people. It happens for men and women. You get circles of these women that are all single, and they're all justifying, oh yeah, you deserve better, and you need a man like this, and he needs to do this and this and this, and making these demands. And then on the flip side, you got the men saying, oh yeah, all women are bitches, all women are trash, right? If you start hanging around these types of people and bashing your significant other, or bashing the opposite sex, what type of result do you guys think that's going to lead to? From all the stuff that we learned about, from manifesting, from the stories that you tell yourself, on a cognitive level, you guys can understand this, but really what matters at the end of the day is what you're applying, and how you're living, and how you are actually taking this with you outside of yourself once you're done listening to these videos, right? Because if you are listening to these videos, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is giving me some good validation that I'm hearing these videos and I'm learning some stuff. I'm caught in that instant learning gratification loop that I get on. I'm feeling like I'm learning so much stuff, right? Getting these dopamine from watching these videos. But then I go and hang out with my toxic girlfriends, or then I go and hang out with my incel male friends, or then I go and hang out with this person that I know really isn't like adding value into my life. They might make me feel good because they justify this victim mentality that I'm in, but I know deep down that the type of friend that I would truly want is the type of friend that holds me accountable and wants to see me grow and wants me to be better, wants me to level up, wants to see me actually improve. Then make those decisions. It can be, you know, I'm not sitting here telling you that you need to cut literally every single person out of your life. I understand that some people have family members, they have certain people, but I am saying you got to be aware of this. I really do think that with those family members, for example, you have to limit your time around them. You have to put boundaries in place. You have to let them know what is acceptable and what is unacceptable, and what you will tolerate and what you will not tolerate. Because the more that you give in, the more that you allow these people into your life and allow them into your ear, now you've got the devil on your shoulder. If you want to look at it from a spiritual perspective, like we talked about the science of it, this is what demons do. This is what the devil does. The book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, he talks about how people are drifters because most people are walking through life and they're hypnotized. They're hypnotized by their environment. And when they get around these types of people, or when they get around this type of energy, they're weak people, they're weak-minded people, and they allow themselves to be influenced by these people. They allow themselves to say, oh yeah, he's no good for you. She's no good for you. Oh yeah, you should break up with them. You should do this. You should do that. Oh yeah, you essentially helping them, fueling their deluded vision of what's going on, their distorted reality of what's going on. So, and again, emotional thinking, when you think from a purely emotional space, you're not going to get good results in your life. You're going to be led by your emotions. You're going to be impulsive. You're going to make rash decisions, and you're going to have to come to live. Eventually, those consequences you're going to face the consequences. You may delude yourself in the moment by thinking that, yeah, you know, I feel good. I feel good doing this. That doesn't feel good. Well, you know what people that get when they only do things that feel good? You get nothing, right? You get what they're talking about, belly fat, because it feels good to eat that chocolate cake, doesn't it? It feels good to not go to the gym and sit on your ass. It feels good, instead of working on yourself, instead of doing the improvement, instead of actually putting in work to become that better version of yourself, it feels good to just sit around and complain and blame everybody else, doesn't it? In the moment. But that's why you have to pick your heart, choose your heart. Do you want to easy in the momentary? You want to sit on there eating your Fritos on the couch, watching Netflix, watching trash reality TV shows that help you feel empowered and help you feel like, oh yeah, I'm this and I'm that, and I deserve this and I deserve that, when you haven't done anything to work for any of it? Is that what you want? Or do you want the life where you put your head down, you focus on your goals, you focus on allowing and bringing in those good, better quality people into your lives, you focus and you put your intention out on having healthy, positive relationships with the people around you, you put your intention on your vision, you read your scripting messages every morning, you do your affirming, you tell yourself that, yes, I'm cultivating positive relationships in my life, yes, I am being this person who's attracting good situations, good circumstances, and I am creating this vision of my future that my future self is going to thank me for. And you do that and you follow it up with action. That is what needs to be done. That is what must be done if you want to reap the rewards of somebody that is self-actualized, of somebody that is on the path that is becoming in alignment with that higher vision of themselves, that is not getting dragged around and led around by their fleeting transitory emotions, essentially the devil on your shoulder telling you, hey, yeah, go eat that chocolate cake. Hey, yeah, go and be promiscuous. Hey, yeah, go and do all these things that feel good in the moment. Hey, yeah, go and drink all the alcohol. Yeah, go and do all this. Go and abuse these substances. Go and actually, go shit on these people. Go gossip behind these people's back because it fuels your ego in the moment. It's up to you. The choice is always yours, and eventually, like I said, it's going to catch up, and your life will reflect the choices that you make. It can be no other way. So you determine the quality of the person that you would tend to be. the people that you surround yourself with also will determine the quality of the person that you intend to be. There's no way that you can really just intend to be this high quality person when you're sitting around with the type of people that we're talking about, the type of toxic environment that you're talking about. It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. And science is proving it. That's why we're listening to Dr. Tara Stewart tell us about this right here, right now, right? Your relationships are going to determine the quality of information you get from the people around you, the quality of the people that you surround yourself with, and the people that we make friends with can be life-changing, life-altering. They can alter the trajectory of our entire life. There's a quote from the Bible here that says, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of the fools will suffer harm." There's some good stuff in the Bible, guys. You know, Neville loved the Bible. He loved using it as allegories, but there's some good stuff in here. The Bible is very clear about the quality of information entering your life. This stuff that I'm reading right now goes into that more spiritual aspect. I think you guys get what I'm saying here. I think that, obviously this is an important topic. This won't be the last time that I cover this, and we can go into other aspects of this. If you guys have more questions, you want to drop them down below and let me know what I can answer regarding this topic. But other than that, have a blessed day. Pay attention to the people that you are surrounding yourself with, that you are allowing into your life. Pay attention to the information that you're allowing into your life. Pay attention to the environment that you are creating in your life. You have the power to create this environment. You can curate the environment. You can cut off the people that you don't want. You can bring in people that you do want. You have that power. Anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop me a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.